Fantastic. Thanks so much, Den.
Uh,
And we do have time for questions. So let's see if the audience will send some more in via the chat channel there. And in the meantime, I'll get you started with when did you consider yourself done with that ZTNA initiative?
so it's funny. I have a maturity curve. I hate maturity curves, but I have a maturity curve. And for me, the Adobe team and Cisco team, they're still not done, because one of the final pieces for me is when you turn that office network into a guest network. They have pockets of that in place and pockets are working on. But for me, that done piece is when you kind of get to that stage. But then you're probably never done, because you will learn how to improve on this. But for us, the first set done is that first 6 months or so, where you're doing a posture check on the devices and you're able to disable access to things if they don't meet your requirement. That for me is a brilliant step.
Huge milestone. But there's no milestone as satisfying as being able to turn something off and take it out of your racks and or software portfolio.
Yes.
Is that the sort of milestone folks should be aiming for?
Well, as a security professional, look, I'll tell you, I've been involved in many incidents over the years, and often it's the stuff that's not turned off, left behind, and forgotten about that's being popped because you're not paying attention to it. In this case, for us, you get to a position where your VPN concentrator is an environment. You may have a huge installation. You can start to shrink that down or even eliminate that. And that for me is a great cost saving. And the other thing is when you're using VPNs, quite often you're using different access control mechanisms than you are from your application access, which might be groups. So if you're using directory groups for app access, we use directory groups as part of the zero trust deployment. And you actually get the chance to remove a lot of the old command line VPN group stuff. So even cleaning that is really good, because some companies have got thousands of lines of ACLs in their old VPN infrastructure.
And they have multiple overlapping authentication regimes that need to get rationalized, at least as a part of this.
And you're doing double work, John. That's the thing. And you're doing double work in an area. In the financial sector, I'll tell you, I've got a lot of friends, and there are some Wells Fargo's friends and stuff, and they'll tell me how complicated, and over many years the sprawl has just got uncontrollable. So to bring some control and not have to do double work is freeing up your team's time to actually do some real meaningful work.
And reducing risk, because whenever you have to do those kinds of things, you're introducing the possibility of mistakes and omissions.
Sorry, I was going to say, even from an audit perspective, you're doing double the audit work. If you're having to show audit logs for all your VPN stuff with ACLs, and then audit logs for all your AD group or directories and stuff like that.
And doubling the maintenance work and everything else, indeed.
Yep.
So you talked about how everybody looked at you guys like superheroes because you made it so they didn't have to change their passwords. And that touches on the idea of user productivity. Aside from the password, the first getting in part, were there other things that you did that helped you not hurt but improve user productivity?
Yeah, we started to, so using the security intelligence, we had the ability to determine, hey, we still trust your device. You've still got the certificate. We're doing a continuous authentication. I'm going to prompt you less for the second factor. So even things of that nature. And then, as you know, VPN systems, ideally they're all using MFA, right? But I don't want to have to VPN into MFA there, then MFA again for the app. So by eliminating things like that, just the experience of accessing an application and service, our industry only ever wanted to validate that it was John, it's you, and it's not a bad actor, right? So that was where we started. And somehow we got off track a little bit and over-rotated to wanting to make sure it was John 500 times a day.
Right. And still missing the part where me being me isn't the only thing that's important. What's important is what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is now we're trying to say that, is it John or is it someone on John's computer pretending to be John? And that's where the device posture piece comes in really important.
And have you found in the implementations that you've been dealing with that any substantial portion of the application portfolio just isn't ready to play in this kind of space and continues with legacy access?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there are some applications or, you know, so the easiest ones are the ones that are SAML based or, modern auth based. But then you get these old clunky thick client applications. The other thing that we found is a lot of these implementations can be very endpoint device sensitive. So if I've got iOS versus Android, or I've got a Linux machine, so a lot of those little nuances come into this. And the architect that I worked with at Adobe, he joined me at Cisco, he joined me at Banyan, and both of us are evangelists. So, we can certainly spend time with anybody just on those kind of nuances. That is a hard one to kind of go over, but more than 15 minutes.
No joke. Well, that's all the questions we have time for right now. So, Den, great to meet you. Thanks again for your presentation and the great answers to the questions.